Shalom Israel, and welcome to another edition of Yashuala's 20-minute breakdown, where I'll attempt to break down the scriptures within 20 minutes. But first and foremost, as always, you know how we do. We give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Wahar Rakar Kadash, and the Akims and the elders in the highways and byways pushing this word in truth and sincerity. All praises. And the elder women teaching the younger women. All praises to you too. And the camps and the solo brothers going out there, making videos, edifying the body, pushing the truth according to scriptures. All praises. Now, what I want to touch on today is the topic, man of sin is revealed. Now, I'm going to base this off of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3, where, the son of perdition is revealed. Now, I'm doing this because we got a certain race of people that exalt themselves above the stars, i.e. above the Most High. I mean, when you look at everything in the world that we live in today, all things are by their standards. Like if you want a PhD, if you want driver's license, if you want anything, it's their standards. If you don't meet their standards, according to them, you're not qualified. And this race of people exalt themselves as God. And not only that, they've got, their images if you just Google Christ, it's going to be a Caucasian image. If you Google Moses, if you Google any biblical or any biblical person, or even the angels of heaven and God himself, it comes up being as a Caucasian or as that race of people, because they exalt themselves. So you think like they are, should we say, whiter than white. They can't do no evil. They can't do no wrong. And you find that when these people talk, everybody thinks, oh, it must be true because the Caucasian said it. But now if someone of another race, i.e. of my race, say it now it's up for debate. It's questionable. But these people who exalt themselves as God sit in the seat of God, and they portray themselves as the leading authority on everything, education, everything. They are the leading authority. Now, if you don't already know who those people are, the Bible is going to explain it, so there's no, there's no disputing who these people are. And there's no room for maneuver to say, oh, it could be this nation, it could be that nation. No. By the time I've finished this lesson, the Bible is very clear on who the son of perdition is. Yeah? And I'm going to open up this lesson with 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. I'm going to open it there. And then, obviously read down, other scriptures and then, you'll come to your own conclusion. Now, I've put this template up because the picture that you see up, these are the heads that run the world. And if you look at the image that I've got on these, as my template, there's no other nation there apart from the so-called Caucasian who calls himself Jewish, and they run everything basically. Because if you look at the sports world, the music industry, the news, the banks, the internet, even religion, what you are supposed to, if you're ordained or not, what you should do, who you should worship and how you should worship. They control all of that. Your schooling, your history, everything. They are controlling all of that. What's put out there? I mean, to get certain information, you have to dig, but it's not readily available because of these people. Now, with that said, I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to get straight into it. Hopefully, this is a quick lesson, and you know, I'll in these few scriptures that I've got, it will definitely make the point. So, with that said, I've got my timer, and I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. Boom, we're away. Let's go. Let's start with 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. And it reads, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Now that's the verse right there. Now, what's the Bible telling you? The Bible is letting you know, don't be deceived by all these things, these people that tell you. Because like that day, the day of the Lord, the day of Yahweh shall not come except there be a falling away first. Now, you can see there are a lot of, even a lot of brothers that were in the truth, keeping the commandments. Now you can see a lot of brothers are starting to fall away into different kind of doctrines and you know, all these kind of things. So you can see that time is near, yeah? And obviously the man of sin is going to be revealed, which is the son of perdition. Now, let's look up that word perdition, because it says the son of perdition. Now, it's spelled Perdition. Now, when you go to the Strongs, when you go to the Greek, and the Strongs for that word is Strongs G684, and I'll tell you how that word is pronounced. Apolaya. That's the Greek word for the word perdition in English. It's the Greek word apolaya, which means destruction, destroy, ruin. Now you can see now, these people leave a trail of destruction behind them everywhere they go. They go in, they take people's land, they kill them out, and then what they do, they concrete places, killing off wildlife, polluting the places, making weapons and all that, you know, can kill on a mass destruction. You know, they destroy water supplies, they pollute lands, they do all these things. So this is already showing you who these people are. And watch the very next verse, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 4. And it reads, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now you see right there, and you know, there was a story going out as well that these people in Israel, they wanted to build a third temple. So you see, so they're already, I mean, they exalt themselves as God, calling themselves God. They got their images, that every image they put out, biblical and all that, it's always of them on and looking so like up there, like they are the standard of beauty. They have the standard of knowledge. They're the standard of wisdom. They're the standard of understanding. This is how they exalt themselves. But the Bible is showing you clearly that these are the men of sin, the son of perdition, meaning to destroy, to ruin, to leave a trail of destruction. This is who these people really are. When you strip back all those lovely smiles and all that they come with, this is the kind of people that you're dealing with. So don't be deceived. That's what the Bible is clearly showing you. Now, watch this. I'm going to jump to the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24, and it reads, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Now, see that the Bible's being very rhetorical there. It's showing that the earth is being given into the hand of the wicked. Now, we know who's ruling the earth. Look at the superpower. America, Russia, Germany, all these, ones that, Poland, France, England, they're the ones that, are running this world. They're the ones that are running this world. And they're the ones that cover the faces of the judges. Now, the judges is the judges of the earth, like Moses, Christ, the Most High, and all these, other people that, came, like Isaiah and, Noah, all these people, they've changed their images. That's what it's showing you. They cover the faces of the judges. Then it says, if not, because when you look at those images, it's only of a certain race of people. So the Bible's showing you, if these are not the wicked, then who is he then? That's what the Bible's showing very clearly. With that said, this is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 48, and it reads, and laid open the book of the law. Now, let me just hold it there a minute. What book of the law it's talking about? Watch this. The book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 8, and it reads, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. So that's what the book of the law, the first Maccabees is talking about, i.e. what's known today as the Bible. Now let's go back to first Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 48, and it reads, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. Now, I don't even have to say nothing. The verse said it itself, showing you that the heathen, the other nation, which are heathens, these are people that are not God's people. They've laid open the Bible and they've painted the likeness of their images, i.e., they've covered the faces of the judges. They have changed the images of all biblical characters and all, historical, events, all the biblical characters, people that are, our foreparents, my foreparents. They've changed all their images to look like themselves. Now, just watch this. I'm going to jump to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. I'm going to read from 12 to 17. Just pay attention to this. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 12, and it reads, for the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. So you see that? These idols and all these things that they now set up to make you bow down and worship, like the wooden cross, and they have a so-called Caucasian image of Christ on a cross and got you bowed down, worshipping and kissing his feet. That is the beginning of spiritual fornication. Because what does that do? That takes you away from the truth of the Bible, and now you go and lean on man's understanding and man's images. Now, let me read on. Was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the inventions of them, the corruption of life. Verse 13 of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. So these things that you see that they've put out there worshipping and the images, they were never so in the beginning, and they're not going to be so hereafter. Verse 14 of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. For by the vain glory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. Now it says, for the vain glory of men they entered into the world. That vain glory of men was men making idols. Because when you look now as well, you see them have these cross that people wear around their neck with a like brass or gold or silver image, and they hold on to it, people kiss it, and that's a vain glory of men. These men made these things for monetary gain and to exalt themselves. That's what that's showing you. Verse 15 of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. This is verse 15 now. Now listen to this carefully. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honoured him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. Now, this is talking about Pope Alexander VI of Rome, where he had his son painted as the Christ, which his son's name was Cesare Borgia. He had Leonardo da Vinci paint his son as Christ. That's where that image comes from. Verse 16 of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, and it reads, Thus in process of time, an ungodly custom grew strong, was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. So you see, just showing you there what the verse prior was saying of vainglory of men. That's what this is going into. Watch verse 17. Who men could not honour in presence because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage, meaning his face, from far, and made an express image of a king whom they honoured. So the express image they made, who they honoured, the king who they honoured was obviously their Pope Alexander VI of Rome. So what they done, they made an express image of his son, who they honoured, and built him up as Christ. Let me read on. Made an express image of a king whom they honoured, to the end that by, listen to this, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. You see that? And that's why the image is going around today like he is the living power. So it's like he's living, but this was a dead man, this Caucasian image that they have of Christ, which that's not the correct image the Bible describes in Revelation chapter 1 verses 14 to 15, and in Daniel chapter 10 and verses, I think it's 5 to 6. So you see, this is all a ungodly custom that was kept as a law. And like, even when you look at even slavery, this image was pushed on us. If we didn't accept that image, we were beaten, flogged, put to death, whatever the case may be. And even today now, that image is widely around the world. You go to, let's say, Africa, Nigeria. You got a lot of, should we say, a lot of our people got that same Caucasian image hanging in their household. And you can't say nothing about my Jesus. That's how they behave. It's sad to see. Now, with that said, watch this. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 10, and it reads, Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Showing you that no matter how much you clean iron, it's still going to rust. And no matter how much you put these people beside you, their wickedness is still going to come out, no matter what you do. Watch this, verse 11 of Ecclesiasticus chapter 12. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. Verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest when he has overthrown thee, he stand up in thine place. You see that? He stand up in thy place. So he's taken our place. Because look at those people in Israel today. They call themselves the Jewish. But, they say Jews, but they claim to be the real Jews. But they don't fit any of the biblical prophecies that was going to happen to the Israelites and the Jews They don't fit none of the narrative of what was going to happen to those people, the real Jews. They don't fit their prophecies, the narratives, nothing they don't fit, yeah? Let me take Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 12. Watch this. It says, set him not by thee, lest when he has overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, what I just read. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my word and be pricked therewith. So the Bible's warning us about the people that we constantly cling to, and constantly when we show people that salvation's for Israel, the Israelites, which is the blacks, the Hispanics, the native Indians, and the speckled birds. What do mostly our people say? What about Esau? What about the Caucasians? The Bible's telling you, be wary of that nation. Watch this. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 13. And it reads, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? So that's a point. If you know the Bible's warned you about certain things, and you go still and do these things, or interlope, or integrate with these people, then what you get, you deserve, and you can't complain. And we're not saying don't have no dealings fully with them. No, because you have to. But you have to know where to keep them. That's the issue. Watch this. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 14. And it reads, So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sin, who will pity? And I'm going to leave it right there, showing you the Bible is very clear on what it teaches and what it says, and how it warns you, and also the nation it warns you of. Yeah? So with that, I haven't timed out, but I'm going to leave it there. I think I made my point. So with that, this is Yashurallah, and with that, we out.